Now, with both Jon and Dave already helping out with Skeleton Crew and the Acolyte, given that they've been having so many different setbacks and issues by Kathleen Kennedy, Leslie Headland, John Watts, you name it, and how they're really trying to regulate those shows by really kind of patching a couple of scenes here and there. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, that brings us to Favreau and Filoni. Now, the thing about these two individuals is that they really are focused on their passion. They're focused on the fans, the community, and just how to satisfy their audience. And we're going to be able to witness all of this, by the way, with Mando Season 3 this coming March, as well as the Ahsoka series by this summer. And there's a lot of great things that are coming out of 2023 so far. Now, I gotta say, one thing about Kathleen Kennedy is that she really has not been on her A game. She's been talking down to the fans, she's been creating a lot of setbacks and delays for Skeleton Crew and Acolyte, really costing Disney quite a bit of revenue in marketing and planning. Now, with that being all done and said, Favreau has been a lot more talkative as of late. I mean, this guy's been way more upfront to the fans than usual, really kind of talking more about his past with Star Wars, what it was like working on The Mandalorian, and what fans can expect for the future. However, just recently he was able to confirm something quite terrible when it comes to how Lucasfilm operates as a company, or at least operated as a company, when Kathleen Kennedy had a lot more influence and a lot more on top of that. So let's dive into it. Now, with Jon Favreau currently developing over 12 Star Wars projects, he recently was able to talk more and confirm some specific things about his work with Star Wars and more to the entire community. Now, Favreau went on to state the following. When I was working on The Mandalorian Season 1 and fleshing out the script, I had specific instructions from Kathleen Kennedy to not include anything related to George Lucas's work and his visionary style for the franchise, which really broke my heart in the beginning because I love George. He's one of the main reasons why I got into filmmaking, and I knew I had to say something about this approach. Me and Kathy had lots of creative differences about this direction of not including George when I wanted him involved. I think the thing that really got me the most was how Kennedy didn't even want him on the set of Season 1 of Mando, period. This is something that I knew that I had to change and convince Disney to allow us to have George on set to guide us on each episode and how it would flow for the fans. Now, I want to just stop here quick. Now, see, this is the main reason why I have issues with Kathleen Kennedy, is that apart from her really not having a great vision for the franchise, it's also how she just seems to have this deep grudge against George Lucas for no apparent reason. And when I say no apparent reason, it's almost literally like that. There really seems to be no reason at all. It really just seems to be very personal and not really on a creative scale. I don't know why. There's something behind going on there, but that's exactly why George did not appear at the Episode 9 world premiere, and because a lot of it had to do with Kathleen Kennedy cutting out the scenes that he worked on with J.J. Abrams. Now, going back to Jon Favreau, really confirming that Kennedy wanted nothing to do with Lucas for George's influence on the script, or him even being on set, or anything like that at all. She wanted nothing to do with Lucas at all for the Mandoverse. Now, finally, yes, Jon got his way, and it took a lot of convincing, a lot of back and forth, a lot of heavy discussions between himself and Kathy, and that's why you have that famous image of George Lucas taking that selfie of himself with Jon Favreau by his side. I think he's got like a bottle of wine in his hand, or a beer or something like that. It's all over social media, by the way. It was like way back in 2020 or 2019, something like that. But that took a lot of time. That took a lot of convincing under Favreau's part to just get George on set, to actually have quite a little bit of influence on the Mandalorian and guiding Jon and Dave on what to do, Kathleen Kennedy wanted nothing with that. She really poured all of her energy into not allowing that to happen until it had to happen. Because Jon was almost on the fence of just walking off the series. We talked about that years ago, of how Jon almost quit The Mandalorian when he was writing the script, when he couldn't even get George involved to help him out. And that really turned things around. That really allowed the Disney board members to wake up, forced Kathleen Kennedy to say yes to Jon Favreau, and things just worked out fine. That's why Mando Season 1 and 2 are working out perfectly. You got George, Jon, and Dave all working together as a team. Now, the thing is, of course, Jon goes on to elaborate further. Now, he goes on to say this too, of course, and this took lots of time and effort on our part, but it was a lot of work to get Kathy to finally allow us to include him on set and to use his visions for Mando. Had I not said anything, Lucas and his vision wouldn't have been cemented into the series, and I deeply believe that it would not have performed as well, both when I was writing the script and when we were shooting. We came this close to not having George's creativity involved with Mando, and it would have been so depressing for us. Another thing that I will say is that her not including Lucas in her approach for Skeleton Crew and Acolyte is valid. Now, Jon confirming, finally, that Kathy wants nothing to do with George on Skeleton Crew and the Acolyte. We've been talking about this for a very long time, and I think that's why those shows are going to feel very different and distant and alienated from the fans. It's going to have its own tone, it's going to have its own feel that may not feel Star Wars-y per se. That's why they have Jon and Dave fixing a couple of scenes, and I don't think it's going to be enough. That's just my initial, reaction there. I don't think it's going to be enough with Jon and Dave only working on a couple of scenes, here and there for Acolyte and Skeleton Crew. But likely, of course, we have seen this time and time again with Kathleen Kennedy. She just does not care about George. She always backstabs him. She always makes false promises with him. In fact, we talked about this about a month ago. I don't know if you guys missed it. The Acolyte was supposed to have some kind of vision scene that included Anakin, portrayed by Hayden. That was going to be pretty much, shown in front of Yoda in the Jedi Temple on Coruscant. And this was all deleted and cancelled at the flip of a dime on Kathleen Kennedy's end, and it was a scene that George and Kathy had decided on, and George was very excited about it. Even Hayden was excited about it. And they just got rid of it like that. No warning, no hint, no preview. They just dropped it. Kathy and Leslie just dropped that scene, took it out of the script, disregarded George as if he was just expendable. And that's the type of behavior that I just don't like. So overall, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys have to say about all this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.